Good morning everybody. It's a surprisingly mild winter's day here in London. In my last video I got quite a few questions how I'm going to fund myself whilst travelling, and in this video I'm going to try and answer that question. It's going to be one of the usual walk and talk videos. Just outside Buckingham Palace there's some kind of event going on. I've just literally stumbled across this. I wasn't expecting this. So we'll check this out and then we'll get talking. Okay, so I thought it was some kind of event, but it's actually the change in the guard that happens every 2 days. So I've never been to the change in the guard before. I thought it was just all concentrated inside the palace and the gardens, but it goes all the way around. As you can see, absolutely thousands of tourists. That's fun. I've never been to the change in the guard before. Way too many tourists to my liking though. So enough tourism for the day. Let's crack on with the subject of the video. Now you don't need me to tell you travelling is expensive. Flights, visas, insurance, tax, tips, food, drink, things you want to do. It all adds up very quickly, so you have to keep on top of it. You'll either need a lot of money saved up or you'll need an income. Preferably, you'll have both. So no matter what you're doing in life, you should always save some money. You should always be putting something aside. Saving for a rainy day, as we call it here. Now in this day and age, you need more than one income. You can't just go to work and say, that's my income, that's what I live on. You need to diversify your income. It could mean cryptocurrency, it could mean Forex, it could mean investments. It could mean if you're lucky enough to be a homeowner, to rent your property or rent a room, have a lodger, or what seems to be very lucrative at the moment is to rent your room to foreign students.
You've got to connect with them, you've got to turn around and eye contact and talk to them.
Unfortunately, my understanding of the crypto world and of Forex and of the stock market isn't great. I'm not a homeowner, so I can't make any money off that. So what I do to make a little bit of money on the side is the YouTube channel, which I'm talking about a little bit of money, and I'm a qualified TEFL teacher. TEFL, teaching English as a foreign language. So I teach English as a foreign language online to students around the world. It doesn't pay a lot of money. Certainly couldn't do it full time and live a comfortable life in the UK, that'd be impossible. But I can do it in other countries where the cost of living is lower and live okay, live reasonably. I can also teach English locally, wherever I travel, if it's available, of course. So those income streams, they won't make me a millionaire, absolutely no way, unless I get really lucky and a YouTube video goes viral. I certainly won't be living a lavish lifestyle. But a lavish lifestyle isn't what I'm looking for. I don't need a sports car, I don't need a massive house. I'm happy with adventures and excitement. Another thing I'm planning to do is workaways, which could be a farm, it could be a hostel, it could be anything, where you work in exchange for room and board. So say for example you work 20 hours a week and then they'll put you up and hopefully they'll feed you as well. Generally if you're doing that you'll be working 4 hours a day, which will leave me a few hours in the evening to teach English, make YouTube videos. I'll be living a very minimalistic lifestyle. I'll have one backpack, a few sets of clothes, my GoPro, a phone, my passport, camping equipment. I would definitely recommend if you're going travelling to take a sleeping bag with you in case you're staying in some sort of gnarly hostel. So my general outgoings will be pretty low. On the subject of minimalism, it has been fantastic. It has felt so good to be cancelling Amazon Prime, Sky Sports, council tax, road tax, TV licence, motor insurance, content insurance, all these things. I don't need them anymore. Now let's talk about how much I'm going to need, say for example, per month. So in a country like Mexico, for example, maybe I'll be spending around £30 a night for accommodation. Food, maybe about £10. You can eat very cheaply in Mexico and you can eat very well. General activities, so I might fancy a few beers, I might want to hire a bike, who knows, whatever. say another £10. So we're looking at what, £50 per day. Transport costs as well, so getting from place to place isn't too much, but let's put another £10 a day just to average it out. So looking at about £60 a day. I don't know what that's all about. So £60 a day, that's around £1,800 per month. Now obviously £1,800, that's not cheap. That'd be difficult to maintain even on my salary here in the UK. So I'm gonna have to make a few sacrifices. Now, I'm not a fan of hostels at all. The idea of sharing a room with people farting and snoring all night, young people coming back from parties at 2 in the morning, fornicating and whatever else, that's just not me. I'm way past that period of my life. Well, maybe not the snoring and farting, but you know what I mean. I don't like a lot of noise at night, and I like the room to be dark so I can get a good night's sleep. But if a private room in a hotel is £30 and a bed in a hostel is £10, then it's just a shit sandwich that I'm going to have to take a bite out of. I certainly won't be shopping in any of these shops anytime soon. Also, for those of you who've been watching my channel for some time, you'll know I'm a big fan of wild camping. I love wild camping, I love getting outdoors. And the great thing about it as well is that it costs nothing. So I'll be doing a lot of that. A lot of wild camping, especially in the States, where accommodation is even more expensive than it is here in the UK. And then food. Now, I don't need to eat out 3 times a day. Once a day, great. And especially, like I was saying, in Mexico, you can go out, fill yourself up on tacos for about £3 quite easily. It was about here just recently where I got accused of being a spy for the Central Intelligence Agency or something.
This man's working for the intelligence spy agency. He's deliberately recording me.
Absolute bloody lunatic. In El Salvador last year, I was eating hot dogs for 25 cents, US cents, that's 20 pence. Ah, un hot dog, un perrito caliente.
Así es.
So eating really doesn't need to cost much. Transport costs. Well, if you're happy to move about like the locals do, in older modes of public transport, they might be a bit decrepit, they might be a bit uncomfortable. You might end up sitting next to a chicken, but boy, is it cheap. Now in Guatemala, I took what they call a chicken bus. People transport livestock on them, chickens for example. I have no idea how long this is going to take, but I'm just going to survive it. So these buses aren't for everyone. They are uncomfortable, they do get crowded. The suspension on the bus is probably shot, but it's cheap and it's authentic. You're travelling like the locals do, you're getting a true local experience. This kind of transport will also take you a lot longer to get to your destination, but time isn't important to me. And sometimes if you're overnighting on a bus, that could save you a night's accommodation. Next up, activities. Now, there are certain things that I want to do that I might not be able to. For example, in San Francisco, I'd like to go and see Alcatraz. But if the tour's going to be $75 upwards, I'm not going to go. But there's other things that are unmissable. For example, when I was in Antigua, Guatemala, I climbed the Acatenango volcano, and it was one of the most amazing things I've ever witnessed in my life. So to travel to Guatemala and miss that would have been a massive shame. So you do have to factor in activities and excursions. £10 a day, I think, is being very generous. I think you're probably more likely to spend about half of that. Other things like going out, partying, fiesta, drinking, cerveza. Now for me, I'm 42, I've done all my partying. I don't mind going for a few beers, maybe even a little sesh, but I can't be doing with the hangovers anymore. It used to be back in the day, I'd go out for 3 nights and I'd get a hangover for 1 day. Now, I go out for 1 night and it's 3-day hangover. Obviously, for you guys who are in your 20s watching this, your priorities might be a bit different, and that's fine. There are other costs, of course. Like my initial flight over to San Francisco was, I think it was £311, something like that. 312, something like that, it wasn't much. Visas. Now with a British passport, most of the countries I'm going to either don't require a visa, or if they do, it doesn't cost anything. Absolutely vital, essential thing you must have is health insurance. Now, me at 42 with no medical conditions, I got what I think is a very fair deal through Tesco. And that was £315, that's 315 for the year. And later on, if I'm still away, I can just renew that. I'll be a year older, so it might cost a little bit more, but I think that price is very fair, very reasonable. That's the Peter Pan statue there, the boy that never grew up. That's me. So already, guys, that's cut costs by about half. And as I mentioned before, I teach English. I'm a qualified and experienced English teacher. I did it for a couple of years before, so I can tap into that, I can use that to make money, and it's very flexible. You can do that part-time, full-time, you can do it for a month, you can do it for 6 months. It's very flexible English teaching, so if you're thinking of travelling full-time, it might be worth getting a TEFL certificate. So with the cost halved, it's going to be approximately £900 per month. Let's say £1,000 just to be on the safe side. And if you are going travelling, document everything, vlog it, blog it, write about it, put pictures up on social media. Some people might not want to see it, other people do. You might inspire someone, you might even make money off it, you might go viral on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. The worst that can happen is that you'll have a load of photos, videos or articles to look back on in the future. Best that could happen is you might be really good at it without knowing it. You might go viral, you might be a sensation, you might be able to make a living out of travel. And that's the dream, isn't it? And if you're doing it and nobody seems interested, don't give up hope. It took me ages, a lot of hard work to get my YouTube channel monetized. And on that note, if you could like, comment, share and subscribe this video, that would be very much appreciated. Another thing that's very useful when traveling is learn a bit of the language of where you're going. I mean, it's probably not so easy if you're going to Thailand, then Vietnam, then Cambodia, then Indonesia, because you've got multiple languages which are very different from English to learn. But for me, I'm lucky. Having lived in Spain for 2 years, I picked up a bit of Spanish. I speak a little bit of Italian, French and Portuguese. So for me, traveling in Latin America, a lot of the difficulty is taken away. But even if it's just a few words, hello, good morning, thank you, you're welcome, please. It goes a long way and it's really appreciated, and it helps you interact more with locals. So how long am I going to be living this nomadic lifestyle? The honest answer, I don't know. As long as I feel like it. I might want to do it for years. I might get bored after a few months. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is the present. What matters is the now. I'm excited for the first time in a good few years. It's a new adventure. It's probably the biggest adventure I'll have taken in my whole life. And hopefully you guys will be coming along for the ride as well. Will I miss the UK? Will I miss my friends, family, work colleagues? Of course I will. But the world is much smaller now. We can stay in contact. We've got FaceTime, we've got WhatsApp. Gone are the days when you had to schedule a time every week to make a phone call to your mum and you could only talk for 5 minutes because it costs so much. The world's a smaller place now. It's more accessible. Go out there and see it. I think that's enough for me for this video, guys. So from Hyde Park, London, thank you very much. I'll see you soon.
Come on, get